Hey guys, what is up? I am TitoTheOG and I'm here with a very special unboxing today. I mean, you guys see it right here. We have the Tangle the Lemur IDW Sega Jakks Pacific action figure. Now that was a mouthful. Tangle the Lemur Jakks Pacific Sega action figure. 4-inch. Walmart exclusive. A lot of taglines on this fella. This is awesome. I mean, last year we got the Metal Virus Sonic action figure, which I made a video on, and he was pretty commonly found in Canada. Still has yet to be found here in the US. There have been very few reports of finding him in Walmarts in the US, which is very unfortunate. I had to resort from getting him imported from a friend over in Canada who found him, and I had to do the same thing for Tangle. Fortunately, my friend found Tangle as well, and I had to get her imported, which it's unfortunate. I don't know when she'll show up in Walmarts here in the US, but I'm going to stop yapping about that, and let's just get to the unboxing. So here on the front of the box, it has Tangle, and it says interchangeable tail fist, which looks very awesome. I think she looks really, really cool in box, and I think there's just a lot to discuss here, but I'll do that once I open it. We have the same IDW comic artwork on the side with Sonic doing his finger pointing. And I just really love this packaging for the figures. I love the shape of the card. I love the artwork. I love how it uses 2D artwork. I really wish Sonic merchandising would go back to using 2D artwork. It kind of reminds me of like the early Jazzwares days where they have, actually I have a box right here, where here we see Jazzwares Sonic and he has his little 2D artwork on it. I think it's really cool. It reminds me of that sort of era of Sonic action figures. So I just really dig this Sega line and their packaging. Go ahead and turn it to the back, and it says there's 17 points of articulation on Tangle, and 4 of those points, I believe, let's see, there's 1, 2, yeah, 4 of those points are in her tail alone, which is awesome. I was never expecting to get a Tangle action figure, let alone one with an articulated tail. So the fact that they went the extra mile and did that is amazing. And we have some artwork of her from the comic books, and then as well as a 3D mock-up of her. There's no description of her like how some of the other 4-inch action figures have. So there's not really much else to discuss here. I think all that's left is to rip her open. All right, here she is in her packaging, and she looks amazing, guys. Like, holy cow. I mean, they're obviously using the model from Sonic Force's Speed Battle from the mobile phone. She has the same exact kind of tufts of hair in her tail and her little mohawk there. So they are clearly using the model from the game. I find it interesting that they gave her a frowning face. I feel like Tangle is always smiling and, you know, jovial and energetic. But I find it interesting they gave her a frowning face. Maybe to go with Metal Virus Sonic, because he looks like he is in pain, so maybe displaying them both together will kind of fit in. Maybe the IDW line is specifically from the Metal Virus arc, so maybe we'll get some other Metal Virus characters. That would be kind of cool. And, I mean, we see here she has the little fist accessory that goes into her tail, and I'm excited to see how that looks on. She just looks awesome, so let me go ahead and take her out. All right, here she is out of box, and she is one of the very first Jakks action figures, or not first, but one of the very few that has elbow joints. And that's right, guys, you heard me. She has elbow joints. Let me show you right here. She can bend them upwards. And she also has wrist articulation. Dude, they're really stepping it up here. Holy cow. So she can move her wrist inwards and outwards as well as her elbow joints. That is so awesome. And then one detail that I really love. So she has these little rally marks on her tracksuit. You see the orange line going up, and you can see they made the joint under her arm orange. And that is so clever because when her arm is up or when her arm is down, that joint acts as the rally continuing through her tracksuit. That is very, very awesome. Now this tail is really heavy. It's kind of, she can't really stand with it on, but let's go ahead and try out the articulation with it. You see it's connecting right here to the back of her. There's like a little cylinder there where the tail connects. It looks a little strange, but to be fair, I'm not sure how else it would have pulled it off unless it was straight up just a ball joint into her rear. I guess the way they have it is fine now, but look at that articulation. Let's see on this other segment here. It's got some pretty good range. It's got some really nice motion. I mean, to be fair, anything is better than what I was expecting to get from a Tangle figure. I was not expecting anything. You could bring her tail all the way to the front of her, and that could actually help her stand. Well, now she's a little too forward heavy, but this is such an awesome figure. I don't indulge too much into the IDW comics, but I really love Tangle's character design and some of the other characters as well. I mean, seeing that they made Tangle so good, it really makes me excited for the future of the line. Like, I'm sure next it's probably going to be Whisper or maybe even Surge. I would love both of those characters as figures because this Tangle is really, really sick. Okay, actually, let's check out the articulation of the legs. So she can move her legs forward pretty nicely. Let me move her arm out of the way. Forward about that much, and then backwards about that much, and then she can bend her knees at a really decent amount. Honestly, some of the engineering on this figure is better than the standard 4-inch line. Like, these legs look better than Jakks Sonic's legs, which is very interesting. I love the slim look of these legs, and they feel pretty good. Like, if they were to use these same exact legs and cast them in blue plastic, I think that would make a much more solid figure. And they could probably even use the same engineering for the arms, if I'm being completely honest, because these are still pretty thin and they feel pretty good. I really hope Jakks re-engineers some of their figures to making them look a little bit more accurate, because this Tangle figure is a perfect example that you can have slim limbs and also articulation. And then, okay, I actually realized one of the most important parts is her head. I didn't even talk about that. But her face sculpt, she is frowning like I mentioned, and it is actually on a ball joint, which is awesome because now you can angle it up, down, to the sides, whereas other figures have their heads on just a solid peg, which you can just rotate 360 degrees. But being on a ball joint allows for much more range, and I think it's a lot better. They actually did use Werehog Sonic's head on a ball joint, so you are able to move his head in different directions. And what else we got here? The shoes are on a ball, so they can kind of swivel a little bit to the sides and forwards and back. I did notice, though, they sculpted some details on there that aren't painted correctly. So she's supposed to have like some black details on the inner side of her shoe, but they're not painted black. And the tongue around her shoe is supposed to be orange, but I mean, that's not too big of a deal. It's mainly the black there that's missing. And let's actually go ahead and try swapping out the tailpiece for the fist. Oh, it comes out pretty easily. Oh, and this one articulates also. I don't know why you'd need to pose this one, but it's posable. And then here is the fist. Sculpting is very neat. I really like this thing. There it is. There's the fist piece in her tail. And then you can put it forwards in front of her like she's punching with her tail. Wow, guys. This is definitely one of Jakks Pacific's best figures. You know, as funny as it is, one of my favorite things about her are her hands. Lots of the action figures that Jakks makes, they have hands that are posed like this. I assume it's to hold the accessories, but lots of the accessories don't really need to be held. Like, are you going to give Shadow the checkpoint to hold in his hand or what? Personally, I would be a lot happier if they gave characters unique hand poses like this open hand right here. This open hand right here is very, very cool. And then this is just a fist. So you got two great solid hand choices, and they look fantastic on her. Like, I think this is definitely Jakks' best action figure. And it's unfortunate knowing how their distribution is, because I'm not sure how many people here in the US at least, or even in the UK, are going to be able to get their hands on her without some help from someone in Canada, because I think the Walmart exclusives are mainly just found over there in Canada. And there's one more thing I actually realized after recording, is that if you take off the hands from her tail, you can actually prop her tail up to make her stand on it. Now, I don't know if that was intentional or not, but it's freaking awesome. All right, now here is Tangle next to Metal Virus Sonic as well as Zombot Froggy. And before now, I used to not really have my Metal Virus Sonic displayed because he's the only kind of comic figures. But now that we have Tangle to go with him, I am definitely putting them in their own spot on my shelves because they look really, really good together. I just can't get over how good Tangle looks. It's actually quite strange to me why for this Sega line that they go all out for their Sonic figures. Like this Metal Virus Sonic uses a brand new mold for Sonic. His joints connect differently to the torso than the standard 4-inch modern Sonic, which is very, very odd. You would think they would just recast it in a different plastic, but no, they made entirely new molds for him. And it's even weirder that from after Metal Virus Sonic, the Sonics in the 4-inch line don't use that mold, and I think it's a better mold. Not just the head, but the body in general. They use different pegs. I feel that's better than the standard ones. So I think it's kind of odd that they go all out for the Sega line, which I don't know if it sells that well. Yet for the 4-inch line, they just they don't use those superior molds. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get some Tangle in some really cool poses. So let me do that. But there she is, guys. There is the IDW Sega Wave 3 Tangle action figure. Overall, I think she's an amazing figure. I absolutely love everything about her. I mean, there aren't really any flaws with her aside from like minor paint app issues, and her tail is a little too heavy. It's hard to keep her in a correct pose without needing like an action figure stand or anything. But personally, I'm totally fine with that. Having an awesome articulated tail totally outweighs not having an articulated tail. And you could even use her tail to help stand. So I think that's totally fine with me. Let me know what you guys think of this action figure, and I really hope she is more widely available in the US so that way you guys can get your hands on her. And I just think that for a retail $10 figure, this far exceeds my expectations for anything Jakks Pacific has ever done. Like, this is peak Jakks Pacific. They totally peaked with her. And seeing this, it really makes me excited for Wave 4. Hopefully there's a Wave 4 of the Sega line to see what else they can do with characters like Whisper, Surge, Starline or Starline, however you say his name. Scrapnik, Mecha Sonic. There's so many characters they can do from the IDW series. But yeah, let me know which characters you'd like to see down below. Forgot to include Metal Virus Sonic and Zombot Froggy to go with her here in this little posing section here. But yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to become an OG, because that is what everyone wants to be. And I will see you guys next time.